Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Rehi Ntambang. In today's tutorial, I'll be showing you how to cut and sew this full circle skirt with pockets and a shaped band on the mannequin. It's beginners friendly. So if this is something you're interested in, watch me do so. So before we start cutting, I'll have to explain some things to make you understand more. To cut a full circle, the fabric is usually folded into four. While to cut a half circle, the fabric is usually folded into two. A full circle is 360 degrees. Since the skirt has pockets, we will need two half circles. A half circle is 180 degrees. So two half circles is equal to a full circle. Using the formula, C is equal to 2 pi r. C here is the circumference of the area we will be attaching the flay. In this case, it is our waist circumference. Pi is constant and it is 3.142. R is the radius and we do not know the radius. So we'll be looking for the radius using this formula. C is equal to 2 pi r. If we make r the subject of the formula, we will have r is equal to C all over 2 pi r, which is equal to C all over 2 times 3.142, which is equal to C all over 6.28. This formula here is the formula for calculating the radius of a circle, but we won't use it since we need two half circles. The formula for calculating the radius of a half circle is r is equal to C all over pi, which is equal to C all over 3.142. The waist circumference we are working with is 31 inches. When we divide this 31 inches into two, we will have 15.5 inches for the front and 15.5 inches for the back. Now, the calculated waist measurement for the front will be 15.5 plus 2 inches side seam allowance, which will give us 17.5 inches. So we'll be using this 17.5 inches to infuse into the formula to get the radius. Calculated waist for the back is 15.5 inches plus 2 inches seam allowance plus 2 inches zipper allowance, which will give us 19.5 inches. Again, we'll be using the 19.5 inches to infuse into the formula to get our radius. For the front, the radius is C all over 3.142, which is 17.5 we got all over 3.142, which will give us 5.5. But we will have to subtract 0.5 inch so that after sewing, we'll fall back to 5.5. For the back radius, we'll have C all over 3.142, which is 19.5 all over 3.142, which gave us 6.2 inches. Again, we'll subtract 0.5 inches, which will give us 5.7 inches. The length of the skirt we will be cutting is 30 inches, but we'll subtract 2 inches for the band because this skirt is going to have a band, which will make it 28 inches for the length. So this is going to be a midi skirt. So we'll use approximately 4 yards to make this skirt. So it can be less than 4 yards if it's a short skirt. Now, for us to be able to know how much fabric we need for each flay to avoid wastage, we will do this. For the front, we will say front radius plus skirt length times 2. And this will give us 5, which we had as our radius, plus 28 times 2. This will give us 33 times 2. And this will give us 66 inches. But to be safe, we will cut 70 inches. For the back, we will say back radius plus skirt length times 2. And the back radius was 5.7 plus 28 times 2, which will give us 33.7 times 2, which will give us 67.4. Also, to be safe, we will cut 70 inches so that there will be no shortage. So I will go behind the camera and cut 70 inches for the front and 70 inches for the back. I'll do that now and get back to you. I will start by cutting the front. So I cut 70 inches and folded into 2. I can further fold to form a triangle, but I decided not to do so. Although I'll do that when cutting the back so you understand it's the same thing. I'll mark the 5 inches radius we got for the front. I'll now mark the length of the skirt, which is 28 inches. I will now cut. For the back, I will cut another 70 inches and fold into a triangle. The advantage with this is it is easier to work with and doesn't consume space. I will mark the radius we calculated for the back, which is 5.7 inches. Then I will mark the length of the skirt, which is 28 inches. I will now cut. So I'm done cutting the back, but since we have a zipper at the back, I'll further divide into two. I will indicate the zipper allowance and side back using a chalk. I will also indicate the side front. This is so that we don't get confused while fixing the pockets and also while sewing. For the pocket, I'll be using a dimension of 8 inches on fold by 9 inches length. I will mark and connect. Then I'll cut. I'll fold again and cut the second pocket. There are other ways to cut a pocket, but I like mine like this. The pocket will be fixed to the side seams. So on the side seams, I'll come down from the waist by 2.5 inches. I'll place the pocket right side facing right side of the skirt and pin. When I'm done fixing the pocket to the skirt, I'll sew, but before I start sewing, I'll weave the pocket and the skirt. I like doing this for neatness. Here I'm sewing the pocket to the skirt using 1/2 inch. I will make a notch up and down, that is before the seam and after the seam. I'll repeat the same thing the other side. Sew, then notch up and notch down. I'll join the side front and the side back together and take the seams to the pocket side and pin. Then I'll sew the pockets like so. I will now sew the side seam from the waist to about ½ inch after the beginning of the pocket, using a seam allowance of 1 inch. Then I'll sew from about ½ inch before the end of the pocket to the hem, again at 1 inch. This is the zipper allowance side. I will pin them together and mark 7 inches down. The 7 inches I mark is where I'll put the zipper. Then I'll sew from where I marked down to the hem at 1 inch, because our zipper allowance is 1 inch. So now I'm sewing the hem of the skirt. The best way to do this for a full circle skirt is to weave the skirt first and bend just once. I won't sew twice to avoid diagonal folds. Before I cut the band, I will fold the skirt into two, match the side seams, and measure from the center front to the side seam and record. The measurement I got is 7¾ Then I'll measure from the side seam to the zipper allowance. The measurement is 8¾ The band I am cutting is a shaped band, so there will be side seam. I'll cut the front first. I'll fold the fabric into two and fold again. The folded side is the upper waist, while the open side will be attached to the skirt. The width I measured for the front is 7¾ The height of the band is 2 inches. I'll mark and connect. I'll mark 1 inch for the side seam allowance of the band. Then at the open side that will be sewn to the skirt, I'll mark ½ inch for seam allowance. Then I'll connect. At the side front on the folded side, I'll tighten the band by ½ inch and connect to nothing at the open side. I'll connect and then I'll do seam to the seam allowance and connect. Then I'll cut. I'll pin to keep in place because I'll be using the front to cut the back. I will just add 1 inch for the zipper allowance. So now I'll do the same thing I did for the front. I'll fold and fold again. Then I'll place the front band on top of the back band. So the difference is I'll just add 1 inch for the zip allowance. I'll connect and cut. So this is how to cut a shaped band. I love this band because it gives more fitting than just using a straight piece for the band without any shape. I'll iron a light interfacing called A stay on it. When I'm done, I'll sew using 1 inch on both sides, leaving the zipper allowance open. After that, I will pin. So let me go and do that now and get back to you. So I've ironed the interfacing on the waistband. I'll sew using 1 inch on both sides. When I'm done sewing, I'll open the side seams and press. I'll bend the waistband and sew together as one. I'll notch the midpoint of the waistband and also the midpoint of the skirt and pin together. I'll match the side seams and pin. That is the side seam of the skirt and the side seam of the band. I'll pin other places in place. I'll make little clips on the skirt so that sewing will be easier. After that, I'll sew. After attaching the waistband to the skirt, I'll weave and fix the zipper. If you are still watching this video, kindly give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, and also hit the notification bell to get notified anytime I upload a new video. Also engage in the comment section and let me know if there is any topic you will want me to share with you. Thanks for watching. Bye.